welcome back to CityLine. With me, I have three fabulous individuals who are here to talk about the Fort Nisqually Living History Museum, one of my favorite places in Tacoma. I nickname it the Williamsburg of Tacoma because I've been there and I know. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Don Burge. You are a volunteer reenactor. Welcome to CityLine.
Thank you.
And you brought with you this beautiful, talented, amazing 8-year-old granddaughter named Natalie. Hello, Natalie.
Hello.
Welcome to CityLine, my dear. It's good to see you. And Natalie, next to you is another great friend of ours, Allison Campbell. You are the event coordinator for Fort Nisqually. Yep. Welcome back, Allison.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, all three of you. So Dawn, let's start with you first. Let's talk about there is something called the Brigade Encampment, and that's what we're going to talk about first. Give us a little bit of history behind it. What is it?
The Brigade Encampment occurred when the Hudson's Bay Company decided that the brigades from the Snake River and various places were to come to Fort Nisqually to drop their furs off in 1855. It was the second time in the history of the fort that it had happened. And they came in and they dropped the furs off, they relaxed, got ready for the fall hunt, or what would be called the fall hunt. And it was a big deal around the fort. If you were other places, it might not be such a big deal, but for the men coming in, it was a time to relax, a time for furs to be sorted, counted, repackaged or rebundled, and ready for shipment back to England. Uh-huh. And so we celebrate that every year.
I love that. So, Allison, what can visitors expect to see at this event?
So, sort of things kick off at 11 o'clock. At 11:30, the brigade arrives. You've got the brigaders sort of led in by bagpipes and musket fire.
Oh, I love that.
We have a bourgeois, which was the name of the gentleman who was sort of the leader of the brigaders. Jeff Smith, a volunteer, portrays our bourgeois, Angus MacDonald, and he kind of MCs the whole day. And that kicks off everything from Punch and Judy shows to races and competitions, and something called Engagé for a Day. So families can visit all of our volunteer brigaders, our living historians in their camps, learn a different 19th century skill. They'll collect beads, and if families and kids earn enough beads, they're given a contract to work for the company for the day.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Yeah. I love that. So Natalie, what is your favorite thing about the Brigade Encampment?
Well, my favorite thing is like sleeping over there because it's like I'm in the actual history.
Wow, you get to spend the night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many other 8-year-olds get to spend the night besides you?
Probably about, I'd say maybe a lot more than me.
A lot more than you. So now you've been spending the night for quite some time, because when we were in the green room, I asked your grandpa, I said, how many years or how young were you? And we thought about 4 or 5. Is that right, Grandpa? When you started doing this. You're amazing. Are you ever afraid?
No, not at all.
Oh, I love that. Boy, talk about the best sleepover in the world. Mm-hmm. I want to spend the night at the fort. You think I can do it too?
Yeah, I think you could.
If you'll put in a good word for me? Okay, good. All right, you sit tight. I'm going to come right back to you, okay? Mm-hmm. So, oh my gosh. So, Allison, what's planned this year in terms of what's new?
So probably the thing we're most excited about this year is we are collaborating with the Grit City Society of Beards to present a beard contest. As you can imagine, many of our brigaders have impressive facial hair.
I bet.
And the public is invited to compete. There are 3 categories. A trapper category, which would be sort of the natural beard, ungroomed,
is that
right?
Dawn?
That would be Dawn.
Okay.
We have the labor category, which would be kind of what they call freestyle in the beard world, partial or full facial hair, groomed or ungroomed. And then the gentleman category, which will be sort of a groomed full beard. And then a kid category. So there's a crafting table. Kids can make beards. They have to tie on. They can't stick on. And so there will be a competition for the kids as well. So that'll be on Saturday.
Wow.
The judging starts at 3:30.
Have you been practicing your beard drawing?
Not really.
Oh, I think because you've got some experience, you have a leg up on this. So, Don, what do you hope that people take away from this experience?
An appreciation and love for history,
Yes.
specifically Pacific Northwest history,
Yes.
and an understanding of what we're celebrating, why we're celebrating it, why it's important to the history of the fort and important to us as individuals.
Absolutely, yeah. It is such a pivotal point in our history, and it's. I'm always amazed when I step into the fort. I truly feel like I'm stepping back in time, and part of it is that the reenactors are so excellent at what they do. They know the history inside and out. So it is seamless. I mean, there isn't a time when you, at least for me, I think, oh, I'm in 2018. It doesn't work like that. And that is a huge credit to Fort Nisqually. So, Allison, any tips for people planning to attend this event? Because you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have some snacks and drinks available in our visitor center, but if you think you need a bit more robust meal to keep your stamina up throughout the day, we recommend you bring a picnic to enjoy in our picnic shelter. The weather, it looks like it's going to cool off for us, but definitely come prepared for the weather. We've got a beautiful covered veranda that will keep you shady if it's hot or covered if it's wet, but definitely just wear something comfortable and just be prepared to try new things and learn something new.
Absolutely. So what else does Fort Nisqually have going on this summer, if that wasn't enough?
I know, we're so busy.
Yeah.
So on August 24th is our last Homespun Happy Hour, which is a new event series we launched this year. It's grown-ups 21 and over coming to the fort in the evening from 6 to 9 to try different 19th century crafts, enjoy an adult beverage. We've worked with Tinkertopia on some of the crafting materials, and E9 and Bonafide Potents and Chambers Bay Distilling and Nashi Orchards have all been very generous in donating.
Nashi Orchards, yes.
Yummy drinks. And so it's great. August 24th, you can find out more information on our website.
I love that. So these volunteers that you have are, as I said, pretty impressive. Don, how many years have you been volunteering?
I've been involved with the fort for about 24, 25 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, so what made you get involved?
I've always had a love of history, first of all, and I've always been interested in the fur trade specifically, and I sort of stumbled into it at Fort Nisqually, but then just never went away.
So did you walk in as just a participant or someone going?
No, I walked in on the Queen's birthday one year.
Oh, I love it.
And talked to Michael McGuire, and
Yep.
he was the education director at the time, and he let me know there was an unannounced Living History Day coming up the following month, and I came back, and like I say, I just never went away.
Oh, I love that. It's really a family there, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
But many of us have been reenacting prior to the fort. I had been reenacting, I don't know, 10, 15 years prior.
Wow, that's impressive. So, Allison, how can people find out about volunteering opportunities at the fort? Because, boy, it is wonderful to be there.
Yeah, our volunteers are our heart and soul, and like you said, they just not only know their history, they communicate it so nicely to the public. So our volunteer application is online, fortnisqually.org. Under the Support Us tab, you'll see a page with lots of information about our program and the benefits and the rewards, and the application is there.
So do you need to know as much as Dawn knows in order to volunteer?
Well, you will, you don't need to arrive knowing as much as Dawn knows. You will, kind of quickly, I think, get caught up as, these folks educate you and teach you. But just an appreciation for history is all you need, and a little bit of time, and we can teach you the skills, we can teach you, the nuts and bolts of the history and set you on your way, and you'll be part of our fort family.
Oh, I love that. And speaking of fort families, it's so beautiful to have grandpa and granddaughter here, because that is such a legacy that you are creating. And for Miss Natalie, the only requirement for her is the ability to play and have fun, isn't it? So Natalie, when you think about what would have been the best thing about being a kid way back in 1885, what do you think?
Well, we get to make corn husk dolls. It's where you take the wrapping out of like the corn, the green stuff over the corn, and then you can make a doll out of it with a little bit of some string, and then you might need some scissors. And you gotta tie it, and then you can choose to decide if it's a boy or a girl, and then most of the time you get to watch a puppet show. We make wooden puppets with some cloths, and then we mostly play with them sometimes.
I love that. Wow. Let me tell you something. I think you would have done really well back in 1885. I think you've got that whole playing in the corn husk and the puppets down pat. I want to say thank you to, first off, you two for the gift of your time and the gift of play and imagination and knowledge, for making this real for us. So thank you both so very much for being here. You did a wonderful job, my dear. You can sit in my seat when you get older, okay? You have a career ahead of you. And Allison, for always providing such a beautiful program for us to talk about. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And who knows, I may be strolling through the fort one day, and I'll have to have my eyes out for Miss Natalie, and perhaps you and I can make a doll together, okay? All right. When we come back after this message, we will have the Foss Waterway Seaport here to talk about their Art Afloat exhibit. You don't want to miss that? We'll be right back.